So day 2 of right triangle trig app. So make a sketch. Do I have to make a sketch? Probably a good idea. So Mary's flying a kite on a 50-meter string. Okay. I draw most of my triangles all the same way. I'm not worrying about being perfectly to scale. I just want to make sure I see all my stuff. So Mary's flying a kite on a 50-meter string. Okay. So if you like to draw, okay, there's my little kite. Woo! This string, most of the time when you're flying a kite, you're not flying, vertically. So my 50-meter string will be going from here. And there's Mary. Okay. The string is making a 50-degree angle with the ground. We've got our 50 degrees down here. How high above the ground is the kite? Well, if this is the ground and here's my kite, there's where my mystery side is going to be. And I've got to make sure I get these things set up right. Because if I flip any of the sides or angles around, it's going to get me a different answer. So, as usual, I'm just going to make sure. And again, if you're comfortable after the couple of days we spent with the regular right triangles and then yesterday again with some of that you don't feel you need to label everything, that's okay. But here's what I see. I see that I have the opposite side in the hypotenuse. Wherever I have the variable and the number, those are the sides I have to use. So which trig function am I going to be using along with those two sides? Which one has the O and the H? Sine does. Okay, so even if you got to write that at the top of your paper to kind of help you out. So we'll take the sine of 50 degrees. It's going to be opposite over hypotenuse. Because the order that they're in up here is the order we use them in our fractions. So opposite over hypotenuse, adjacent over hypotenuse, opposite over adjacent. And so when I get here, there's two ways I can go about it. One way is if I remember, hey, when x is on top, you're going to multiply the number in the trig function. And I'll show you in a second what to do if you don't remember the trick. You don't have to be successful with this. Let's do this instead. Make sure I'm in the right mode. I am. I'm in degree. That's good. Okay. So 50 sine of 50. Not with a plus, though. Okay, and typically we just go to the nearest tenth on these. And I get my answer. Now, some of you, like I said, might say, hey, what do I do if I forget your little trick? Okay. All is not lost. If you forget that, I can still do this algebraically. So here's how that would work. So I'd have that same problem. And I'd say, okay, I'm trying to solve for x. Well, what am I doing to x? I'm dividing it by 50. So what's the opposite? The opposite would be to multiply by 50. And you notice I end up with the same little mini expression that I did here. And I'll still get the same answer. Okay, so if just doing the algebra is more comfortable for you, I'd go ahead and do that. But if you remember the little trick, more power to you. Just will go a little faster. Let's see here. 2. I think we're just going to do this whole first side here. So let's see. 2. Bill is an architect designing a new parking garage for the city. The floors of the garage are to be 10 feet apart. Okay. The exit ramps between pairs of floors to be 75 feet long. Okay. What's the measurement of the angle of elevation of each ramp? Okay. Well, I'll talk about that in a second. I'm just going to underline that for now. So I'm looking for this mystery angle where the x is at. So, let's see here. Label all my sides. And I notice once again, similar to the last one, I have opposite and hypotenuse. I have O and H, so I'm going to be using sine again. But the difference is this time, I'm not looking for a side, I'm looking for an angle. And we'll talk again in a second here what that little -1 is. But again, order matters. Opposite over hypotenuse. The little -1 reminds me I need to hit second first. Or if you have a scientific, maybe a shift button. Second sign. There's the little -1. Okay, that tells me I'm looking for an angle. And then I just type the fraction in. And yes, we can get very little angle measures. I mean, if you think about it, if it's a parking garage, I hope it's not going at a 45-degree angle. That could get kind of messy. So for angles, we always need second. The little -1 helps remind me of that. So that's all that would be. Now it gets fun. Now I get to draw more pictures. From the top of the lighthouse, the angle of depression to a buoy is 25 degrees. If the top of the lighthouse is 150 feet above sea level, find the distance from the buoy to the foot of the lighthouse. Okay, a couple of things to mention here. I'm still going to draw these the same way that I always do. So let's see. All right, I got a lighthouse here. Looking good. Okay. The angle of depression to a buoy is 25 degrees. I'm not going to get real technical about this. I'm just going to make a real easy explanation for you. Whether you see angle of depression or angle of elevation, the angle is still going to be in the same place. It's always going to be in that bottom corner. So don't try to get cute. Don't be like, well, depression means it must be up here looking. Okay? Just put the 25 down there in that bottom right corner, because that's where it would end up anyway. So if the top of the lighthouse is 150 feet above sea level, measure the height of a house vertically, find the distance from the buoy out here to the foot of the lighthouse. Okay, not the buoy to the top of the lighthouse, no, the buoy to the foot. So going to be down here at the bottom. All these details we got to keep track of. So I look and I go, okay, what have I got here? I got opposite. Here's hypotenuse. Here's adjacent. So I've got opposite and I have adjacent. I have O and I have A. Which trig function am I using? Tangent. Tangent's got the O and the A. So tangent of 25 degrees is O over A. And here again come your options on if you would rather do it algebraically, use the shortcut. If we're using the shortcut is if x is on the bottom, we're going to be dividing the 150 by my trig function. So I'd have 150 divided by the tangent of 25, which is like 321.7. And just like we did on the other one, let me take a moment here to show you if you're like, I don't remember the trick, or if I do remember the trick, I'm afraid I'm going to mix it up with the other one. How can I do this doing algebra? Okay, if I'm going to go strictly algebra, same problem. And I tackle it the same way. I go, okay, not going to be quite as quick this time because the x is at the bottom. Whatever's at the bottom of the fraction is what I multiply both sides by. Okay, so those would cancel out. This time, one step isn't going to get it done because, well, the x isn't by itself yet. Now it's got a tangent of 25 with it. So the opposite of multiplying those guys together would be to divide. And once I do that, notice got the same expression to put in the calculator. Okay, so algebra way works. Just doing the little shortcut way works. Doesn't matter which way, they'll all get you to the same thing. Okay? But it's just kind of taking your time and making sure that you're getting things drawn up good. So then finally, last one on this side, then I'm going to let you loose for a bit. At a certain time of the day, the angle of elevation, again, these words don't matter a lot to us. The angle's going to end up in the same place anyway. The angle of elevation of the sun's 44 degrees. Find the length of the shadow cast by a building 30 meters high. Okay. All right. So we know where our angle is going to be. Find the length of the shadow cast by a building 30 meters high. Okay, there's the building. Now, the shadow. Where do you see your shadow? Is your shadow up in the air or is your shadow on the ground? Shadow's on the ground. So we end up with a problem that sets up the exact same way that the last one did. So once again, since I notice, it's almost exactly the same, it's just an angle and this are different, I know it's tangent right away. And I know it's opposite over adjacent, because I have number 3 kind of as my guide. So that also would remind me, even if I did it using algebra before, that now I kind of could use the shortcut. So we'll go ahead. We'll get that typed in. Whoa, and get a glare like 31.1. And we're set there. So the rest of this package is kind of get you some more practice at that. These will be prevalent on the next quiz. Like, I think on the next quiz, if I'm remembering right, it's only 11 questions, but like 3 or 4 of them are applications. So this is one of those things we've just got to get locked in on. Answer keys up front. If you're having issues, try setting it up, and then come up to see me, and we'll get you set on that. And that will be it